Okay, so I got it to this point where all of the negative space is covered in. I outlined it in black first and colored around the edges and then colored over it with the gray. Then I blended it with water. Now what I want to do is I want to create cast shadows on every one of these that overlaps to the sides of it. So I want you to look at this. If you look at it up close where these lines are, wherever it overlaps, like this piece right here is overlapping this piece, I want to have a shadow on the underside, on the under piece, okay? So I'm going to put a cast shadow here. This one's overlapping this under piece, and I'm going to put a cast shadow right here. Where this one's overlapping this one, I'm going to put a cast shadow on the one that's under it. So you're always going to put a cast shadow on the one that's under it. So what I'm going to use for this, these are my watercolors. I like to use blue and brown. Okay. All right, so you want to make sure your picture is dry before you do this. Because what happens if it gets wet, you see how this is like bled outside the line a little bit? I'm going to try to fix that with my paintbrush when it's dry enough to do that. But I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to show you how to do the cast shadow. So I'm going to use a little blue and brown. Those are my favorite colors to use for shading. Sometimes I'll add a little black, but it's already got some black in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paintbrush, and I'm going to make sure that I'm putting the shadow on the under piece, the piece that's going under it. So I'm going to go right across this line, and I want to bleed it out this way so it creates a cast shadow. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Then blend it out towards the other. See how that makes it look like it's three-dimensional? So if you want, you can put a little black in it too. You just don't want to see a line. You want it to be a shadow. Okay? I'll do another one. I'm going to use black, brown, and blue together. So this piece is overlapping this piece. So I'm going to make sure that my shadow is on this side. So I don't want to leave that because that's a line. So I'll put a little bit more water in it, and I'm going to blend it out towards the other way. Put a little more water in it. You got to learn how to control the water, and if it's too dark still, you can pick it up with some of the paper towel. So that creates a nice cast shadow. I'll do a couple more for you and then cut you loose. See how nice that looks? I think I might. The more water you put in it, the lighter it's going to get. You just don't want to put too much water on it to begin with. I start out with a good bit of color on my brush, but not too much. You just got to play with it and see what's right. And I kind of put a line down, and I put a little drop of water in my brush, and then brush it away from that strip. Okay. Sometimes I need to put more water in it and sometimes I don't. It just depends on how much you got on your brush. Okay. All right, I think I'll let you go. So remember that when you're trying to do a straight edge, you put your paintbrush down and you don't pick it up until you're either done with the line or you run out of paint. Like this, see? Okay. All right. See y'all in the next project.